guess you can. Yes, can you hear me? Oh, there we go. It was a one-way conversation there for a minute.
Bella Salon and Day Spa, located at 41 West Main Street in Northeast Pennsylvania, proudly supports Chautauqua Sunrise and its volunteers. More information at bellasalonanddayspa.net. Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Doc Hamels, and I'm in the pink. That's going to be our theme for the rest of the month for breast cancer awareness, and that's going to be the topic of today's show. So I look pretty good in pink, don't I? Look at that. All right. There's a shirt I found. I think it's the only thing I have pink. I got to find something. So anyways, that's going to be get more. Of course, you can never have enough pink shirts. All right, so good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us here at Access Chautauqua, Chautauqua Sunrise. And good afternoon to our listeners that are catching us Tuesdays at 1 o'clock on WRFA 107.9, low power to the people. Oh, boy, my mouth is tired. So glad you could join in, and I can tell you right now, this show will be of interest to you, to your loved ones, anyone that you know. It's for men and women, so please stick around and stay tuned. And as always, if you can't catch the whole show, you can visit with us again on YouTube, where I have an apartment there now. 275 shows or something like this now. So today's 275. It's like a magic number, isn't it? Boing! They're all on YouTube, and because a lot of times people want to refer to who was that guest, and you'd be surprised. People do say, well, what about the veterans or this or that? And I'll say, look up this last name, go to Chautauqua Sunrise, and up it comes, and it's all there for you. So glad you could join us. This is a live show, and we do get a call from folks from time to time. Mike from Portland called last week. Sometimes Linda Spalding calls in, and so we'll see who calls today. 753-5225, 753-5225 if you have a question for me, my guest, if you have an announcement or just want to say, hey, you guys are awesome, anything you want, especially the camera people here, they're just great. Unsung heroes here. They're just looking at me. Where you go? Oh, you're awake now, thank you. We got Emerald in the house and Justin on camera, Jeff on the engineering room, and Chris is somewhere floating around, and Randy's out there answering the phone when it rings. So glad you all are here today. Well, what happened to the warm weather? Holy mackerel. It's like somebody just flips a switch. I know it happens every year, but it kind of shakes you when you you're running around in sandals on Thursday and you got your winter jacket on Saturday morning. 38 degrees this morning. I put Brody out for his morning run, and he about slipped off the deck because it was the dew was just icy. It was just a sheen on there, and his little paws, he couldn't hardly stand up. All right. So, of course, the cold temperatures brings the beautiful, beautiful fall weather and all the colors that we enjoy here in western New York and northern Pennsylvania. See how I got that in for you? Okay. The lakeshore area is just a gorgeous area to be. And we mentioned it last week. It's harvest season, and boy, oh boy, Concord grapes are in full harvest. The Concords are just smell great, and especially after they process the grapes, they leave the pumice, the pulp and seeds and all that good stuff out on the road there that they don't use, and it just emanates a wonderful aroma. It's also election season. I know signs are going up all over again. I guess it's not going to be quite as as busy of an election year as it has been in the past, but I just encourage you that tune into your election process cycle this year. I know there's a few town seats up here and there, judgeships, councilmen, some county legislator seats are up and things like that. But get involved, go to meetings, question the candidates. A lot of times people say, well, I can't believe that person's whatever. Well, did you vote? Did you check it out? So treat it just like you would any other professional that is in your life. You know, check their credentials and read up on them. So that's being an elected official myself. That's what I encourage people. And good news is I'm not running for anything. I'm done. I'm retiring from the world of politics finally. So, anyways, fun time of year nonetheless. And the sunshine is unbelievable. It's cold, but it was. Emerald and I were coming in from Ripley today. We could hardly see coming up Mayville Hill. That's how brilliant it was. So nice weather. All right. So I have a special guest today. We're going to do what we call a little vignette here in a second, who's been willing to come in and talk about an upcoming event. And she's a friend of mine from my Rotary Club, the Westfield Mayville Rotary Club. She and I had the opportunity to be on the radio with Dave Rowley at WDOE earlier this week. So I want to welcome to the show again, she's been here before, is Janice Burkhouse. And good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
You're getting to be the multimedia star these days.
It's a busy time of the year.
It's a busy time for sure. Well, thanks for coming in this morning and taking some time away from your schedule, because I know you're a busy, busy person and you're on lots of boards and committees as well. Janice, you came in to talk a little bit about the gold rush. And a lot of people will say to me, what's the gold rush? So what is it?
Well, the Gold Rush is one of our biggest fundraisers for Westfield Mayville Rotary. And we start out with a dinner, a Chevetta's dinner from 6 to 6:45. At 6:45, we start the program. The program consists of a reverse draw.
I hear the MC is wonderful.
MC is great. You know him well. Thank you, Doc.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and we have a basket raffle going on during the reverse draw as well. Okay. Well, that probably will end before we start, because everybody wants to pay attention to the reverse draw and wait for their ticket to be called.
So reverse draw again is what?
Okay, it's a reverse. We sell up to 250 tickets. That's the most we're going to sell. Okay. We pull each ticket. The first ticket is a winning ticket. Each 10th ticket is a winning ticket for a cash prize.
And the others are donors.
And the others are donors to support our community service projects. Okay. The last 3 tickets are our big winners. So the third prize, second runner-up is $100. First runner-up is $200, and the grand prize is $1,000.
All right, Jeff, let's pop that poster up while we're talking a little bit, and just for brief, and we'll get back to it again later on. $1,000.
$1,000, and you do not need to be present to win.
For real and true. So you're going to give somebody, like if Justin was there, you give him $1,000.
We absolutely will. Every year we give $1,000.
We were talking before the show, we were thinking that Gold Rush has been an event for probably well over 30 years in Westfield.
It's been a long time event. It's a huge support. Our community really comes out to support us with the Gold Rush. It's a fun evening. A lot of people come and they have their own party within our party.
How's that work? Party within the party?
We open the doors at 6. You can come, bring hors d'oeuvres, beverage of your choice, and have a party while you're having the dinner, and then continue the party while we're doing the drawing.
Okay, for our viewers and listeners right now, Rotary is a word that some people know. What's the elevator speech? What is Rotary?
Rotary is a service organization. We're a worldwide organization. I think we're in 112 countries now.
1.2 million members, I believe.
Correct. That's the last number I heard, 1.2. We have been in the Westfield Mayville area now for 90 years.
That's true.
We're celebrating our 90th year this year of helping the communities. And we help both our local communities and the international community.
So what are some of the projects that these funds will go towards?
Some of the projects that we've done, we do scholarships every year for the 4 schools in our market. That would be Brockton, Chautauqua Lake, Sherman, and Westfield.
Wow.
We send students to Slapshot, one from each one of the schools, and that is the sophomore age group. It is a weekend in Canada.
Oh, nice.
Leadership training. Everyone that comes back says it's life-changing.
Okay.
It really gets
so
them on the
preparing
right
you for
path
leadership roles.
Okay. We support a lot of community functions. We've supported the hospital. We've supported the libraries and the communities. The Children's Safety Village we support.
And my understanding, food pantry or doing projects like painting and cleanup and things like that. Lots of whatever highway cleanup. There's a sign right here on the way between Westfield and Mayville. I see the Westfield Mayville Rotary Club sign there all the time.
Just did that a week ago, I think it is now.
Right.
But yes.
Okay. So this is going to be when again?
It's going to be October 19th, Saturday, at Easton Hall in Westfield at 6 o'clock.
And what's for dinner?
Dinner
you said Chevettas, but we didn't
talk about what it was.
The menu.
Okay, it's going to be a quarter of a chicken, beef on weck, au gratin potatoes, pasta with homemade sauce on it, salad, dessert, beverages.
You can get all this?
All of that.
And they're going to stay awake for me.
Absolutely. You'll keep them awake.
I'll keep them awake.
You'll keep them awake. They all are awake. They want to win that $1,000.
All right. So I'm reading here, Easton Hall, 23 Elm Street, and it's $30 a ticket. Now, the thing I think people got to realize is $30 nowadays, that's what you pay for a meal.
Right.
You're going to get a meal plus me.
That's right. That's right.
It's a good evening. It's lots of fun. You know, what I find too is that the room kind of like cheers or moans at each other, and people celebrate when people win small amounts of money, large amounts of money, and good time. How did someone get some tickets?
To get tickets, you can see any Westfield Mayville Rotarian. You can contact Linda Dunn. She can be reached at 716-326-3012. You can email her at jbzip@roadrunner.com.
Good memory there. Woo.
I've typed it a few times.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Can you buy tickets at the door?
You can buy tickets at the door. They would not include the dinner at that point in all likelihood. The tickets for the dinner need to be purchased by October 12th, next Saturday, to guarantee your reservation for the dinner. But you still will be entered in the drawing.
Okay, I got a question from one of my listeners. Okay. This is a good question. Can the last 3 tickets be from the same person? In other words, let's say I bought a whole bunch of tickets. Could I have the last 3 tickets?
They could. All the tickets go into a bin. We mix those up. We're twirling that bin frequently during the evening. So if you bought enough tickets, you could have the last 3 tickets, yes.
And for everyone that's listening and watching, we have a screen, and the numbers all go up, so you get to see your name. So everybody's accounted for. Every number is accounted for as you go along.
Absolutely.
All right. So again, it's October 19th. It's a Saturday from 6 to whenever we're done. Easton Hall, Westfield Mayville Rotary Club, and it's to serve the community.
That's right.
All right.
It's a fun evening.
Janice Burkhouse, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
And thanks for all the hard work you do for the club and for the region.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot. All right. Well, we're going to go through a few announcements here, and then we're going to have a break, and then we'll introduce our guest who's waiting very patiently here in the sidelines. So let's get to it. Let's see what we got here. All right. I guess this is by way of an announcement, so let's do it. M&T Bank Foundation supports the Infinity Visual and Performing Arts Center. We talk about that a lot, don't we? Thanks to a funding award from the M&T Bank Foundation, Infinity Visual and Performing Arts students will soon benefit from some new musical instruments and equipment. I could use another guitar. Infinity, which is a 501c3 non-profit organization, is so thankful for grant funding and community support that helps ensure that Infinity students have access to unique tools and materials. Donations such as this one from M&T Bank provide much needed instruments and equipment for Infinity students to utilize during their lessons and rehearsals at the Infinity Center. The Infinity Center also has an instrument lending closet, which helps provide loaner instruments for students with financial need or students who may or may not have decided on an area of study yet. Oh, there's a great picture there. Infinity Executive Director Shane Hawkins says the following. The M&T Bank Foundation has been a consistent supporter of our instrument fund. We are so grateful to M&T for continuing to support this program annually and providing quality instruments and equipment for our students to explore, experience, and excel. For more information about Infinity, give them a call at 664-0991. And you can always go down and visit. They have over 40 instructors. All right, so good on them and good on M&T Bank. You guys all know from the shows over the years here that I'm really high on Infinity. Being a musician and a wannabe actor, I guess. I keep ending up in productions. This is just such a wonderful opportunity for young people to explore the arts, and it's in a safe, warm, caring environment. And I've said this over and over again, if I had one of these, Eric Clapton would be my protege. I mean, we would really learn our art and we would learn our skill level, because that's the level these kids have when they leave, is they're right up there. They're ready to go out and perform and be a working musician. So it's really cool stuff. No, they're not, Juilliard type yet, but I mean, the point I'm making is that they've got the skill level to do really quite a bit if they care to. All right, let's move on to the next one. This is called the United Way Fall Celebration. This is going to be held on Thursday, October 17th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., so that's Thursday. All right, if you're interested, you got to let them know by Friday, October 11th, and the coordinator there is Adam Dulce. It's going to be held at Liberty Vineyards at 2861 Route 20, Sheridan, New York. If you're interested in attending, you can email Adam at AdamUnitedWay. Wait a minute, let me do this again so I can get it right for you. Adam at, and this is all one word, UnitedWayNCC.org. All right? Or give him a call at 366-5424. He says, join us as we celebrate our United Way's work in the community. Learn about our community partners, meet our board, and join us as we recognize people and organizations that are demonstrating how to live through the United Way in northern Chautauqua County. All right, so we've had them on here before. I know they do really, really good work. All right, moving along here. Let's see here. Free presentation on early history of county brewers and beers set for October 12th in Jamestown. All right, let's see what this says. Chautauqua County is experiencing a beer renaissance with numerous microbreweries and craft beer establishments currently operating in several local communities. But those businesses currently in operation are just the latest in a long line of bottlers and breweries that existed both before and after Prohibition. On Saturday night, October 12th, Chautauqua County Historical Society trustee and historian Bob Johnston will focus on some of those past brewing operations with a program entitled The Early History of Chautauqua County Brewers, Bottlers, and Beers. Say that 10 times fast. The program is free and open to the public. Johnston plans to speak to what early county residents were doing when it came to the beer trade up to the end of Prohibition, having a good time. He'll offer a rundown of early brewers and bottlers. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Bottlers. It looks like bottler. History and artifacts. He'll also explain what's gone and what still remains, including the mundane, interesting, and sometimes macabre details of the early brewing industry. Johnston is not only a trustee with the Historical Society, but is also the founder and driving force behind the Jamestown Street Railway Trolley Car 93 restoration project. He's also the organizer of the annual Westfield Book and Paper Show, taking place each year, the first Saturday in May. To coincide with the topic, the Historical Society is partnering. Oh, golly. They're working together with, I know. They're working together with a newly opened local brewing establishment in presenting this special program. It will take place at 6 p.m. October 12th inside the Jamestown Brewing Company at 119 West 3rd Street, Jamestown. There's no cost to attend the presentation, and the event is open and to the general public. A variety of food and refreshments will be available for sale before or after the program. In addition, some of the brewery's product will also be available for sale during presentation. I guess that means you can drink. And the business will also offer a tour of the new brewing operation at the end of Johnston's presentation, tentatively set for 7 p.m. Okay, if you're interested, give them a call at 326-2977, or go over to the McClurg Mansion right downtown Westfield, and they'll tell you more about this. 326-2977. Now, my buddy Jim Kurtz from Mayville, who watches the show, gave me a bottle from Ripley. Let me see if I got this right, Jim. The Silver Dew Bottling Company. And none of us, my age anyways, knew anything about it, so I gave it to my father-in-law, who's our family historian, and it's just a clear bottle, about this big, looks like maybe like a soda bottle perhaps, and it's his understanding that this Silver Dew bottling was like between meters and the stoplight. There was a whole string of buildings and shops in there at one time, long before the school was there in the 40s, and he thinks that it has something to do with that. So Jim, there's your information on that particular bottle that you gave me. So it's one of my treasured items at my house. Okay, one more time, let's do the Gold Rush poster. Let me just zoom through that one more time. That's coming up October 19th at Easton Hall. Tickets are $30. Drawing starts at 6:45. You can win up to $1,000. What could be better? We already talked about what you're going to eat, so it's really some good food. I've been there before. If you want a dinner ticket, you got to order everything before the 12th, because they're going to put their order in, and after that, you can come, but you're not going to eat. All right, there's going to be a basket raffle. I call it Chinese auction. You put your numbers in a bag and they pull your number, and a 50-50. For more information, give Linda Dunn a call at 326-3012. And finally, this is from the Chamber of Commerce. October is Manufacturing Month. I thought it was Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I guess everybody claims these months these days. There's only 12 to pick from. Manufacturing remains the backbone of the regional economy. Manufacturers in the Chautauqua, Cattaraugus, and Allegheny County service area of the Manufacturers Association of the Southern Tier produce $7.5 billion U.S. dollars in shipments annually. Manufacturers pay out $837 million in payroll. Large amounts of our manufacturing output is sold outside of our region, state, and country, resulting in the movement of large amounts of new wealth in our area. So let's see. So there's going to be some tours, and there's going to be some presentations. So if you're interested, contact the Chamber of Commerce, and they're going to let you know what's going on. There's going to be a Manufacturing Expo on November 13th. I'm sure we're going to hear more about that over at the MTI facility, the Manufacturing Technology Institute at Jamestown. There's going to be some presentations here, there, and everywhere. But it's a long read right now, and I don't want to take the time to read everything here. But do check the paper and the announcements. But the Chamber of Commerce is doing a lot of good work with the companies here in Chautauqua County and benefits all of us. So good on all of you, and support the local manufacturing and buy their products if you can. All right, we're going to take a short break and we're going to be right back, so stay tuned. Thank you.
My name is Carly. I'm 15 years old and I am a heart recipient. I got my first heart transplant when I was 1.5 years old. I got my second heart when I was 13. When I get my driver's license, of course I'm going to say yes to be an organ donor. I've been saved twice, so who says I can't save somebody else?
This gift of life was made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Okay, welcome back to Chautauqua Sunrise. I'm Doc Hamels, and remember, this is a call-in show. If you're interested in giving us a call or announce anything that's what your club or organization may be having here soon, just like I read early announcements, give us a call at 753-5225. Okay, my guest today is not a stranger any longer. You're no longer a novice. You're a pro here, and Brenda Burdick, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And we talked about you returning to the show after you did that great show on lymphedema, and I learned all kinds of stuff. That was a while back. Was that in the springtime? I don't even remember.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
And so we're going to focus in on the body, just like our virtual there was talk about body parts. We're going to talk about body parts today. Okay. We forget that we've got to take care of ourselves, and we've got to maintain our bodies just like we got to maintain our house or our car or whatever. I mean, we really do. I think we forget that. We got to be the sole owners of our bodies, and something's wrong. We got to do something about it. A lot of people don't, do they?
No, they let it go because they think it'll go away. If I wait a little longer, it'll go away. So, I mean, with breast cancer early detection, I think that everybody is getting the word out on early detection, mammograms, but that's just the start of it.
You're associated with Westfield Memorial Hospital and St. Vincent's?
Yes.
Okay, and your job is?
I'm a lymphedema therapist, so once lymphedema is detected, they send in, the doctors send them to us, and we can go over and check and see if it would just be normal swelling or if we have an incidence of lymphedema, which happens most of the times when lymph nodes are removed.
Okay. And
breast cancer surgery.
For those that didn't have the opportunity to tune in last time, how do we define lymphedema?
Lymphedema is your body's inability to move lymph fluid. There's a lot of different causes, and most often it can be surgeries. The uprise in lymphedema is due to cancer. A lot of different cancer surgeries that upsets the lymph nodes, and then you start to have a problem. And if you don't recognize that it's lymphedema and try to get help with that, it can become a real difficult situation to deal with.
Now, as I recall from last time you were here, there's a direct correlation with breast cancer surgery and lymphedema. Did I get that right?
Yes, there is.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
All right. Breast cancer surgery, they most often take the sentinel lymph node because they want to test it to see if the cancer has spread any further. So sometimes it hasn't and no lymph nodes are removed, but breast cancer surgery in itself is done in an area that has a lot of lymph nodes under your arm in the axillary area.
All right, so you got all these medical terms down. I don't.
Okay.
So let's go sentinel lymph node. Where's that located?
The sentinel lymph node is located in the axillary area under your armpit, and it is the first lymph node that would be affected by cancer if the tumor has spread from the breast.
Okay.
So it's more like an indicator.
Okay, so that when they're doing some diagnosis, they would start there as a natural course of investigation.
Generally, every surgery includes checking into the sentinel lymph node just to make sure it hasn't gone further.
I'm pretty naive when it comes to lymph nodes. I've heard about it for years. How big is a lymph node? I mean, is it very big?
Lymph nodes are fairly small.
Okay.
I would say about the end of your fingertip.
Okay. How many do we have? Do we have a lot?
I knew that was going to be the next question.
I want to know. My viewers and listeners want to know. How many lymph nodes
Everybody
do we have?
has different numbers. I mean, I'm just relating it to the lymph nodes.
There's no standard allotment of lymph nodes.
No, I don't think so.
So are we talking like 10, 100, what?
Well, usually in the breast area, it can be most likely in the range of about 26 lymph nodes.
Each side?
Yeah, each side. So that area, there's a pretty good concentration. However, people have different numbers. It's close to the same.
Yeah,
but
that's okay. I'm not trying to be exact. I'm just trying to get a ballpark. So what do lymph nodes do for us?
Lymph nodes are the lymphatic system is responsible for moving through waste material through your system. If any foreign body that enters your system gets flushed through the lymph system and excreted out.
And that's throughout our body with lymph nodes everywhere?
Yes, throughout our body.
All right, because we always hear about lymph nodes, as you referred to, as being removed from the arm area, but so we have them in our legs and.
Yep.
Okay, I did not know that.
There's different concentrations of them in areas, and it happens to be with breast cancer, there's a high concentration of lymph nodes grouped together under each of the axillary.
So if somebody has their lymph nodes removed, they can lead a normal life still?
They can. We have seen that it doesn't take, we've had patients who have had 1 or 2 lymph nodes removed and have had significant swelling. We've seen patients that what they call is a total lymphectomy. If your oncologist feels that you're at risk of affected lymph nodes or the cancer spreading, sometimes they'll recommend a total lymphectomy. That means you have no lymph nodes on that side.
Wow.
And some people have managed that without terrible amounts of swelling. It seems to be individual.
All right, so let me recap this if I understood this right. So in the event of cancer, the lymph nodes have to be removed. Now we've removed that part of your body that moves waste material.
Yes.
And so if they're not there, it's collecting somewhere, and that's why the limb or body part swells up.
Yes, that's where you get the swelling.
And that's where the lymphedema that we've talked about in the past comes in with therapy to help push those fluids out.
Yes.
All right. Now, if you don't move those fluids out, what happens then? Do you get sick?
The lymphedema can go to some pretty extreme levels. The first thing you're going to notice is a full feeling. You can get skin changes.
Like a heaviness.
Yes.
Yeah.
The skin changes are really difficult to deal with because your skin is trying to make room for more fluid. So it hardens, it becomes dry, skin cracks. Generally, that's more on the lower legs, but the tight, miserable feeling.
I would think it'd be really uncomfortable to have an arm or a leg, or well, in this case, we're talking about arms and breast area, where it's just full all the time, and probably it's heavy and awkward.
Yeah.
Well, quality of life probably changes pretty radically, I would think, too.
Definitely. You lose your range of motion in your arm. Range of motion of your shoulder is something that you have to work to get back after surgery because that's affected. So when you compound that with swelling, it can get pretty tough to deal with.
Okay, I just got a question from one of my viewers. People text me throughout the show.
Sure.
Sweat glands, lymph nodes, they're totally different, right?
Yeah, sweat glands are located in your skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is down in below the muscles or intertwined there?
The lymphatic system is located right on top of your muscles fascia and beneath the skin, so it's pretty superficial.
Okay. Okay, so today we're going to focus on breast cancer awareness and all that, right? So let's kind of start from the beginning. Who gets breast cancer?
Anyone can get breast cancer.
The Post-Journal just ran an article this week. In fact, I think it was yesterday. A gentleman
Yes, men
had
can get breast cancer.
I know another individual, male, that had breast cancer. And I got to be honest with you, up to about 2 or 3 years ago, I didn't realize that men could get breast cancer.
Yes.
I know it's a smaller percentage, but it's still there. So, and I'm not, this isn't a test or a quiz to challenge your information, but what are what are the things that people do that push your system for breast cancer to develop? In other words, what are some behaviors, conditions, other than just being born, genetically grown, but I mean some behaviors or activities that cause breast cancer? Are there some?
Breast cancer can be hereditary. You know, there's a lot of different causes, and it isn't generally something that someone did to get it. I think there's a lot of dietary factors, and there again, it isn't anything that anyone did by not taking care of themselves. I think there's a higher incidence in today's age of hormones being pumped into meat and dairy, and your body can have an estrogenic reaction to chemicals that are on fruits and vegetables.
Now, I've heard smoking will be one of the things that can trigger breast cancer. Is that
Smoking can increase your risk in cancer generally, but breast cancer, really, it just doesn't discriminate who it affects.
Okay, so you could have one person that smoked all the time, never get breast cancer, and a person that smoked once in a while could have it. So that just maybe irritates it or triggers it or doesn't. Well, let me go with this question, and I've heard this, and I think it's true. We're all born with cancer cells. Is that true?
Yeah, we're all of our cells can go bad, and then with our lifestyle changes cause cancer cells that take over in our body. We're not doing enough good things for our good cells to fight the cancer.
Okay, so we can talk about prevention here in a minute, but let's talk about in the event that somebody wakes up one morning or what are the symptoms of breast cancer? I mean, how does somebody know they have it?
Sometimes there, aren't symptoms. I think generally if you wait for the symptoms to show up, it can be advanced in its stage. I never want to say too late because they're coming up with ways every day for treatment options, but it gets advanced.
Okay, let me go back to what you just said. That I hadn't really thought about that. Don't wait for the symptom. Don't wait to find out.
Yeah, prevention is the key. I mean, getting your mammogram on time. My breast cancer was detected on a mammogram, and the tumor was so small that they never expected it to be in the lymph nodes. And during surgery, they removed the sentinel node and told my husband after surgery that they removed 6 lymph nodes.
Wow.
So.
And hence you had lymphedema.
Yes, and it was something we didn't expect.
Wow. So you never know. All right. So anybody can develop this, men or women. Seems to be a higher prevalence with women.
Yes.
So let's go with the men, because quite frankly, men don't generally go for mammograms.
Yes.
Okay. So let's just talk about them for a minute. So if someone's listening right now and they're saying, something's not right here, what is it they're looking for? I mean, because there's fatty tissue, and there's warts and things that we all grow. So what's going to happen for a male?
I mean, just general achiness, pain.
In the breast area?
Yeah, the breast area, the feeling that something isn't right, changes in shape.
Oh, okay. Color? Right. Anything?
It could be changes in color as well. I would say more likely just changes in shape.
All right. So if something feels swollen or just doesn't look quite right, not symmetrical, I guess would be a good word.
Yeah, that's
I think our bodies are pretty symmetrical when we look in the mirror. Is there a technique to feel for something? I mean, you said yours was so small. I mean, you didn't even detect it.
Oh, I didn't detect it because it was very small. I think regular self-checks, which men should perform, but it's not something that's promoted because, like you said, the incidence is a lot lower. But self-checks for women, mammograms.
I don't know if there's an answer for this because maybe the research doesn't bear it out yet, but if you had a mother that had breast cancer, would that be an indicator for men potentially have breast cancer, or is there no connection there?
I'm not sure of the connection there. Yeah, right. I guess I'm not.
But I think that's something to think about.
Yes, with women, I know that there's a connection there when it's your, female and your mother. In my case, no one else in my family had breast cancer.
Interesting. Let's see where I was going to go with this. All right. So with prevention, then. Where do they go if they have a suspicion? To their primary doctor? Or?
Usually the pathway goes, when something is detected on a mammogram, they have you in for an ultrasound, and then if they find something, they'll do a needle biopsy, and at that point it's all through the hospital. It starts on the surgical end of that. Once they have their surgery and they're recovering, you're trying to get the function of your arm and shoulder, get your shoulder moving, and then you have to start looking towards prevention of lymphedema. I think anyone who has breast surgery should beware of swelling. You're going to have some swelling with breast surgery. That type of swelling, you can elevate your arm, do, some cold compress, warm compress. Generally, right after surgery, it's going to be cold. I mean, later on with chronic pain, you can start to use warm. But you'll start to get rid of your swelling, the surgery will heal, but then you notice the swelling isn't going away. And usually your surgeon and the nurse navigator team, they're aware of lymphedema. So it's my hope that they get you off to treatment in physical therapy with a lymphedema therapist. The issue around here is I have patients that didn't go seek out therapy because it was in Buffalo. So that's the biggest, what we're excited about at Westfield Memorial Hospital is now we can take breast cancer patients, even if they have a suspicion, they can come in and get evaluated for swelling. And we can work on the swelling, we can get them in compression sleeves. That's the point where we take over.
Now, last time you had a compression sleeve on.
Yes, I did. Today I don't, because in the beginning I wore my sleeve. I wore it constantly, and then I noticed I'd forget to put it on, or I'd do things and the swelling wouldn't reoccur. So I only have problems with swelling once in a while. I can feel it start. I can feel the fullness underneath my arm, the side of the breast, and I put my sleeve on, then I wear it to work and for a few days, and everything's good. So I'm very lucky.
The compression sleeve is sort of the same as, this is a question, as compression socks that people wear for congestive heart failure? I mean,
yes, yeah. There's different degrees of compression. We try to see how bad your swelling is. 20 to 30 millimeters of mercury compression is generally what we start with for breast cancer, but there's options out there. So it's nice. It's gotten really individualized. There's different types of compression option, and the newest thing out that is for people that have to wear compression 24/7 is nighttime compression. So they've made comfortable options of nighttime compression, so you can wear your sleeve during the day. You can start with bandaging till we get the swelling down. We'll bandage it, teach you how to bandage it.
Well,
it's a process, but early detection and coming into us to see if you potentially have an issue is the key.
okay, so let's roll back the tape. So
Okay.
somebody that says, something's not quite right. I think there's something going on in my breast area. You get it checked out. You said ultrasound. Is that where they use the wand thing?
Yeah, they use the ultrasound because
That was technical, wasn't it, the wand thing?
the wand thing. Yes, yes.
I just realized the wand. All right.
Well, yeah, however anyone understands it, right? Yeah, they do an ultrasound because they can detect the formation of a tumor. They can detect the changes in the cells. It shows up as like a web-like appearance and, you know, clusters of cells. And so then they want to locate it. In my case, they did locate it, and they went in and did a needle biopsy.
That was my next question. All right.
Yeah,
that sounds really horrible.
Yes, so it was ultrasound guided. So it wasn't as bad as, you know, what I was prepared for, but
Don't tell me how long the needle is. Just say it's really small. And
it's guided.
Okay.
So that's.
Right.
I didn't look. You know, to be honest, I didn't look what size.
Don't show me, please don't show me.
No, well, that's what I was telling them.
Okay. All right. So obviously the needle is a hollow tube needle. I'm assuming that takes a sample out somehow.
Yeah, it actually takes a sample out, and they're placing markers there now. So
Like
they
a
mark
little T or something. I've heard some type of something metal. Something metal?
Yeah, something that'll show up on the mammogram.
No, I have a family member that has a marker.
Yeah, so they insert that. They send the pathology out and call and let you know. Sometimes it isn't what they were thinking, but
Could be something totally different. Could be
could be.
just an encapsulated something, a non-malignant, but it could be benign something or other, growth of some sort. And this little marker stays with you forever, I guess.
It does.
But this way they can find that right away. They can compare a picture from last time, I suppose, before
look
and
in
after.
that area.
What a great system. But boy, oh boy, I suspect that's a pretty harrowing experience to think about what's going on in my body and waiting. But it sure beats the options of having something happen even worse. Folks, you're watching Chautauqua Sunrise. My guest today is Brenda Burdick, and she's a PTA and has some other initials.
A CLT, a certified lymphedema therapist.
All right, there you go. So she's a lady at Westfield Memorial Hospital that will take good care of you if you have to do some follow-up therapy for breast cancer. Do you do other therapies for other surgeries?
Yeah. We treat breast cancer, and most of my other population is lower extremity swelling. So in the case of testicular cancer, if they have to remove lymph nodes located.
I'm staring at you right now because I don't even want to think about that needle.
No,
Go ahead.
no. Well, yes, it's.
You hear all the guys in the back
Yeah.
there? But this is real stuff, okay?
Yeah, it's real stuff that, and sometimes during surgery, that's where the cancer will metastasize to in the inguinal lymph nodes, which are in the groin.
So metastasize. Say that again.
Metastasize.
Metastasize. I feel like I'm in a medical class right now. But that's cool. That means that things break away. The cells from the first source of cancer will break and go through different body
it's like
parts.
the first path that it'll travel. So then patients in that case can get swelling in their legs.
Wow.
So we're doing the same treatment.
This is really serious stuff.
It really is, and lymphedema is so hard to deal with, so it compounds difficulties that you're already going through. So once you have a diagnosis of breast cancer, it's like stepping on a treadmill of appointments, and
wow.
They've gotten really good with the nurse navigators to direct you in the path you need to go. In my case, I was directed right to physical therapy after my surgery to make sure my arm had enough movement. With being in physical therapy, I was doing stuff right away because I knew what to do. But then that's where I went to a lymphedema therapist, and she worked with me and got me in a sleeve right away.
Okay, the question just came through is, you and I have talked about lymphedema probably for the first time in Chautauqua County when you were on my show. I've never heard that term. Is this a new thing, or is it just it hasn't been around here?
It's not a new thing at all. It's just that the treatment options have not been in this area.
Okay, so this has been going on for years. All right. While you were talking about the treadmill of appointments, I could see that in my mind. You're with Westfield Memorial Hospital, so if somebody is connected to Westfield Memorial Hospital, as many of my viewers and listeners are, what's the track of agencies that they would work with? Would they end up at St. Vincent's? Is there a special cancer unit with St. Vincent's, or how's that work?
Well, we are related to St. Vincent's Hospital now because we're all a part of Allegheny Health Network.
Okay.
However, a lot of the patients that I'm getting are coming from oncologists that have found out about us, that are closer to Buffalo.
Really?
They get patients in for treatment, and now they'll have the option to say, well, you know, if you live closer to Westfield, getting the patients aware is a big thing because they'll be able to tell their oncologist, I can get treatment closer to home.
So in a given week, how many patients do you see? I mean, we're not going to name names, but I mean, we talking about a handful or a lot?
Well, our program is growing month by month. I would generally, you know, see about, that's hard to say. I'm trying to think of numbers right now because I have them a couple appointments a week, but my schedule is getting full for approximately 40 hours a week.
Wow.
So, I mean, there's wiggle room.
When we were first talking, you were just starting out with that program,
yeah,
right?
we were just starting out.
So there's obviously a need for this.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's good news for our region and with my viewership and listenership, that if they need that service, they can do it right here. And is there any other lymphedema program in the county that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
As far as, yeah, not that I'm aware of.
So where's your program housed at the hospital at Westfield?
It's in the PT department.
So that would be, if you go to the main desk there, it's to the right, to those double doors there. All right, very cool.
And they can call with any questions to our PT department.
All right, so let's go back again to the very beginning. So after somebody says, ooh, you know, I don't know, something's not right, they have a mammogram. Walk us through a mammogram. What exactly, if of a male that's listening right now says, I don't know what I got to do for that. I mean, us guys don't ever get these things, so we don't know what we would expect. So what happened?
Mammograms, I mean, they're a little bit uncomfortable, but they have, in which Westfield Memorial Hospital has gotten a 3D mammogram.
Okay.
So
three-dimensional?
Yeah, three-dimensional. Right. So you can get a 3D mammogram that can detect all
around.
Yeah, there's a plate that comes up from the bottom and a plate that comes in from the side. And of course, I'm not a radiologist, so.
All right, so I'm assuming You have to take off your shirt.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
and
what I'm
you
saying.
gotta
I want guys to know what to expect there. So
well, you got to stand really close and
up against a glass or something, or a plate.
yes, and as the two parts move in, it gets really comfortable. You're not allowed to breathe for a couple seconds, and they take the pictures that they need. And it's not pleasant, but it's not anything that you should avoid going to get.
Okay. So that doesn't sound terrible.
And I'm not sure, you know, the protocols that they have for men. I mean, maybe there's some sort of things that go on that they would say, well, I think we better get a mammogram.
Okay. But nonetheless,
indicators.
A mammogram's a mammogram, right?
Yeah.
And so they adjust to your height and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, we need to know these things before we go. I mean, we just don't know these things. All right. So then the mammogram is not the ultrasound. That's different. That's a deep tissue looking.
Yeah, that's just like you said, the wand with the gel and pictures.
The one thing. So the mammogram takes a 3D picture of the breast, and so that is sort of like the first step that you would go before the ultrasound. The ultrasound would be the next level, the next step. All right, and then the needle, the next step.
If needed, you know, a lot of times they can find out what they need just by doing that ultrasound if they're thinking something isn't looking quite right.
Now, my mother's gone now, and so but she would talk about this very openly. She had a mastectomy.
Yes.
All right, and this would be probably 40 some years ago. I mean, she was probably in her 50s, maybe close to 60 at that point. And us boys, we didn't know what was going on. So that was the total removal of the breast plus the lymph system, I believe. I'm hearing that they do less and less of that, if possible. I guess that was the protocol at the time, maybe. I don't know if I'm speaking correctly on this, but I'm hearing less and less mastectomies. Does that sound right?
I think, you know, they go over all the details. I think that they're trying to do less surgery, you know, with everything anymore. I mean, the less that you have to recover from, the better, because it's a difficult surgery because you're dealing with swelling in those areas and drains that they put in that you have to take care of at home. And, you know, the less you can do, the less you're going to have to recover from.
Okay. So in a non-mastectomy situation, I'm assuming there's an incision, there's a removal of tissue, and then there's a drain put in?
When a mastectomy is not needed, it's called a lumpectomy.
Okay.
So they will remove the tumor, and what they try to do is get clear borders from the tumor.
So all the way around it.
Yeah, so which we're going into surgical terms, which is a little more difficult but just knowing from personal experience, there's an incision, and then there's an incision up under your armpit where they go in and check the lymph nodes. They injected dye into mine prior to surgery so they could see when they went in if anything was lit up.
Okay.
Apparently there was. So so my surgery wasn't difficult to recover from. There was no drain placed.
Okay, so we're down to about a minute now. So I know seems hard to believe we just got started on this. So why don't you wrap up what you want the message to be for men and women in our kickoff for Breast Cancer Awareness Month? Okay, so I think my main message is to just have awareness. I mean, study up on what you need to know when it comes to lymphedema. Make sure that someone is addressing it. Make sure you ask questions. You know, what should I do? Should swelling occur? I think, like I said, our nurse navigator system, and I know they have this in Roswell, is good with getting you off to the channels that you need. But I just want everyone to know that we have lymphedema therapy available here at Westfield Memorial Hospital. If there's any question in your mind, you can come and get checked, you know, schedule an evaluation. Very good. Brenda, Burdick, thanks again for coming in here. Thank you for having me. I know that sometimes this is a tough topic, but hey, that's what we do here at Chautauqua Sunrise. We don't hide it. We talk about it because we want you all being healthy and sticking around with me on TV and on the radio for many years to come. So thank you. I'm so glad that you're doing well and you don't have your sleeve anymore. People, take care of yourself and go to the doctor. Get checked out. It doesn't hurt a bit, and it'll save your life perhaps. So I'm Doc Hamels signing off for another week. We'll see you next time right here on Access Chautauqua on channel 1301. Have a great weekend and get those extra blankets out. It's going to be cold. Take care. Bye now.